Hey, changing gears, what do you think of Obama having the beer sit down? We're going to all be talking about this tonight on TV.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a mess that he got into by saying anything about a local thing. I mean, hey, that cop was so intelligent. I mean, that's what fucked him over.
It really did.
If the cop hadn't said anything, it would have just gone away. But that cop just said, hey, and he even said, I support the president.
I support the president. He goes,
it's a local thing, and you shouldn't you don't know everything that happened. Every time it just shows every time something happens when nobody was there, just a private moment between two people, then everyone's wrong. Absolutely everyone's wrong. No one should say a fucking thing.
How do you
don't know you weren't there, and then nobody knows what the woman really said when she called them. Everything gets distorted because people bring their own thing. So when you start with something and then you become the president saying something,
the president
as definitive as that was stupid,
you should know better.
But it's because then nobody knows what it's like to be Barack Obama and Louis Gates Jr. If you're black, like here's the thing with Louis Gates Jr. The thing that white people have to keep in mind, because we have different timelines in our heads. Like white people often say, I've heard so many white people say, slavery was 400 years ago. It was 130 years ago. It was really recent. People say that. Hey, we started 400 years ago. Slavery began.
We kind of mopped up.
Yeah, we got a couple centuries in.
And also
hit the lights until about
130 years ago is when it really stopped. And also it didn't stop, and then things have been just awesome for black people since that's the last bad thing to happen to any black person was slavery 400 years ago. That's what we think. And since then, we've just been showering them with gifts since then. It ended officially 130 years ago, really continued for another 80. And then,
give or take.
The thing to remember is that if a black guy or a black woman has little gray hair at the temples, they lived in an America where they were legally barred from using certain fucking bathrooms. where the country didn't let them use the fucking bathroom. That was the official American law.
Right.
Was you can't pee anywhere you want, fucking coon. Yeah. That's what it was like. And so you take that. So anybody that age remembers that and has had to live and go, okay, thank you for now letting me do what I should have always been able to do. Or you were raised by somebody. If anybody younger, a black person in their 30s or younger was raised by somebody who lived in an America like that.
Right.
So how do you fucking Louis Gates Jr., he's the president of fucking Harvard, and he sees a cop looking at him twice. He's like, what do I got to do? What the fuck do I got to do? So if you're the president of Barack Obama, you got Louis Gates Jr. calling you on the phone and telling you and just screaming at you, and you're like, oh boy.
Because that's
guys Barack's age are raised, again, they're their parents. So for better or worse.
Which one, though? The white one or the black one?
Well, I mean, every black person is Barack. I mean, imagine what Barack gets from black people older than him. Okay, now that you're in there, you're going to apologize for, take down the Washington Monument. He's like, look, I can't take down the Washington.
Black.
Listen, I can't take it down. Paint the White House black. I can't
do that.
Look, small moves. Fuck you. I told you if you get in there, you're painting the White House black. Yes, I did. Look.
White House black.
Ugh. When he got the call from Louis Gates Jr., he rubbed his temples and went, oh, God. I gotta say something.
Speech coming up here. I gotta say something.
I gotta say say
something.
And then he prefaces
his family
by saying, "I wasn't there."
Yes,
but now let me talk like I was.
Yes,
and get into all kinds of trouble.
Exactly. So I think he made a mistake by saying something, but it's an understandable mistake on some level.
It turns out the cop was
that Stalker Patty on Maury just now?
Yeah.
Are they still running that?
Yeah.
That
episode's running today. If anybody wants to watch it. Yeah.
That thing has been rerun probably 10 times. She talks about how she.
God bless you. All right, anyway, back to the president.
But what a great angle that I haven't heard from anyone yet about Obama and the shit he has to hear from people.
What he hears from older
that
black
we
generation.
never get to hear.
No, we have no idea what kind of pressure he has.
You gotta imagine those phone calls are pretty fucking brutal. Like
you gotta say something.
Yeah, you gotta do this for all of us.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, and part of having a black president now, it is a major difference, is that you're gonna hear a perspective you're not used to hearing. That's all, and it's not always gonna be right. It's going to be flawed from a black perspective, but it's just we have never.
We've never been.
Never been in that situation.
Here's the only problem. I can wrap it up with what people believe I am. People believe I'm just a horrific racist.
I don't think you are.
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
I think you're a
horrific.
delightful racist.
I'm very good. Now, here's the thing. I cannot stand the disproportionate amount of crime and violence in the black community amongst young black men. Mm-hmm. The disproportionate amount of violence, sheer, brutal fucking violence. And I'm not even talking just against, white folk. Black on black is amazing. It is amazing the willingness and quickness at which they will kill each other over nothing. And that, to me, separates. It's too separate. I can't relate to it. I don't know other people that can relate to it. Did
you ever live in like a black neighborhood?
Yes, I lived in Central Islip. I lived on Hawthorne Avenue, if you know where that is.
But were you in like a white enclave, or were you in a black neighborhood?
Nope. I was in a black neighborhood with a few white kids that were petrified for their lives on a daily basis going to school. There was this kid, Keith Green, his name was, and he'd come up to me and go, "Give me 50 cents. Give me 50 cents every day." And I'd have to give him 50 cents. or it was like, wham, you're getting whacked.
Fucking head rule.
You have to give him 50
cents. And I was
it had to be 50. It literally wasn't 50.
Why?
It was 50.
Yeah, and then Danny put the picture of 50 up.
I think there's a 50. There's got to be a 50 cent piece at some point.
50 cent, give me 50 cent. And he'd look down at me like give me 50 cent. Like and I'd be petrified.
Sure.
I was so scared.
That's all he wanted was 50 cents.
Just 50
You're
cent.
like, I got $1. He's like, no,
70s
50.
though, dude. So 50 cent was
with inflation. That's
it was
probably
huge.
$10.
That was everything. That was lunch. That was hanging out, candy after school. Everything.
50 cents.
All that
50 cent was huge.
All that for 50 cents
back in the day. Back in the day. But I don't like the excuse of
Coke and a Snickers.
That whole thing. Like the whole. All right, you're brought up in a black neighborhood. It's impoverished. It's this. It's that.
Well, I don't think it's that simple. I think. Well, I mean, I lived in Roxbury for a while in Massachusetts.
Yes, another pleasant area.
Very nice. In the Parker Street project. I lived on Parker Street, next door to the Parker Street projects.
Wow.
My car was stolen while I was fucking a girl. Like I was fucking a girl in my apartment, and I heard glass, like that sound of car glass breaking, that safety glass, like outside the window, and I'm like, fucking, okay, that's right outside the window.
That's my car.
And then I hear the car starting. I'm like, that's my fucking car.
Oh, jeez.
And I run out on the street and watch the car. I'm looking at the taillights of my car, and someone else is in it. And I go back and I call 911. Somebody stole my car. I can still hear it going down the Parker Street hill. And the guy goes, "You got to come in and fill out a report." And I go, "No, fucking send somebody here."
Right.
He goes, "No, you have to come down to the precinct and fill out paperwork." And it's because I lived on the Parker Street projects, cops would not come there. They wouldn't come there. When I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, there's fucking cops circling our house like the president is having dinner there.
Wonderful.
Constant police surveillance.
Isn't that great?
Of rich neighborhoods. No, and Parker Street, my neighbors were lovely people who lived behind bars. Like Ross Perot said in one of the debates, these people they put themselves in prison in order to protect themselves because cops won't go to these places and the city won't fucking clean the streets.
Why?
Because they don't give a shit about those people. Yeah, because
it's not so much that they don't give a shit about those people. They fuck themselves by going in those neighborhoods. Cops put their lives and their careers.
It's not the specific police. It's what resources are allocated to what places. And rich neighborhoods get more resources allocated to them than poor neighborhoods, and because that's where the tax bases are.
The tax is also paying for that protection. Yes,
it's really poor on poor violence, and black people have a poor look to them because a lot of them are poor and they have been historically. So it is a cycle, I think, though. I think it's a cycle.
So there's nobody that can.
If you neglect a neighborhood, everybody will. People rob and kill their neighbors. That's what people do.
Yeah.
They don't go to other areas.
Oh no! I realize very rarely it does happen, but But I'm saying yes. That's why I was saying black on black crime is amazing. You ever watch First 48, where they got to take the first 48 hours and investigate it, and in the end,
I love those shows.
It is always on this show. Not only like cops, where you get to see some white trailers parked trash, beating each other's senseless. This is all black guys killing other black guys.
Right.
The victim's black. The witnesses are black. The perp is black.
Why do you care about black on black crime, though?
I'm saying that is what makes this divide. Like I've been fucking poor. I lived in my car. I've been impoverished for many years. I wasn't able to afford food. I dug change out of like couch cushions. I lived on friends' couches until they.
Your friend's couch and you dig the change out?
Yeah, dig the change out to try to buy like Hydrox cookies. I couldn't even get Oreos.
Wow.
Yeah, just to that. So I've been like in that situation, but I understand I'm not black. I have lived the whole legacy of that.
But I don't think it's just. I just don't think it's that simple.
But I have no idea of that lifestyle where life is so fucking worthless, and violence is so prevalent, where the want for violence. Like if I got in a fight with somebody and I punched them and they fell down, I would not then stomp their head until they're dead or in a coma in the hospital or some shit like that. But that seems to be what's going on.
Well, can I just make a distinction, though?
Please.
As far as where this conversation came from.
Yeah.
Louis Gates Jr. being arrested and getting cranky about it.
Oh, right.
and that coming from his personal history being a painful one in America, understandably. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And rising above it, by the way, and he didn't respond to it by being a black on black violentor.
No,
he responded to it by elevating himself and running the greatest
Black Studies
the greatest
program, by the way.
Which,
by the way, is revisionist history a lot of times, and it's
he's the president of Harvard.
Ingrained, trust of white people, if not a genuine dislike of white people.
Well, sure, again,
that 50 Cent really,
that really did. Yeah, see, and by the way, this is interesting because then here's this other one, is you're definitely colored, so to speak, by the fellow who asked you for 50 Cent. That was a fear that was put into you that you'll never forget. And I respect and understand that.
Yeah.
That's going to mean that you're going to see all these stories differently. When you see Barack Obama saying they acted stupidly, it just is a beeline in a synopsis firing path in your brain that goes right to that guy asking you for 50 Cent anytime, and that's deeply ingrained in you, and that's understandable.
50 Cent was the last time I ever saw
when Louis Gates Jr. sees a cop with his hand on the butt of the gun, saying, "Sir, I need you to step away from your own fucking house." He just remembers. He remembers whites only fucking signs and all that stuff, and it drives him crazy. And so that's just everybody brings their own thing to it. I personally think that America's working remarkably well considering all that. It's considering all the wreckage of the history. It actually works pretty well.
The
fact that people in fucking Iowa voted for Barack Obama, that means that, whether or not he ends up being a great president, I think we're coming out on top of this shit. But it's complicated. It's a messy family.
I disagree.
My father came and stayed with me for a week. Well, 2 days. It felt like a week. It was 2 days. And my dad, I have such a fucked up history with my dad. But I got through it. I got through these 2 days. I was like, hey, you know what? We made it.
We can do this.
Like, he's 72 now. I don't know how long he's got left. I'm not sure, how he's making it. He's had a tough life.
Yeah.
And and so I got through the 2 days, but there were moments during those 2 days where he just said little things that I almost fucking hit him in the face. I almost had to call 911 and go, hi, listen, I just killed my dad and I need someone to come over here.
Take care of my kids for me, please.
You know,
I like his take on that whole.
No,
but I like it.
And I'm not saying that there's here's the thing. I say it's understandable that certain older black people have an edge on them because of history. But and then you take it to that it's an excuse for violence and murder.
Well,
but it's not. But I'm not thinking of that, and I do. But and again, it's just really fascinating that's your perspective because of what's going on with you in your life.
It's not just my perspective on that. That's kind of simplistic because I gave you one example of something that happened, and then
it's the only one that matters.
But it isn't
the only one. It's your first moment with a black man.
If that was the only knowledge I'd had of that, it would have been a forgotten memory. But it's reinforced constantly by just this unbelievably
like when you
outlandish unbalance in violent crime, and
although
who's perpetrating it.
All of it has been informed by the first experience you had. And I'm not saying this is a flaw. This is how everybody is.
So I'm watching a black man pummeling an old white woman for her money on a video surveillance camera, and it's because of 50 Cent that I look at that. I should look at him like a gentleman?
No, and
of course
not.
What does 50 Cent have to do with the way I interpret that?
You started a collection that began with 50 Cent.
But I'm not collecting. I'm being given this.
Right.
People are throwing this at me as I see from surveillance videos.
You're being thrown a lot. You're being thrown. By the way, Louis Gates Jr., I think from what I know, and I was there. I'm just going to keep adding to the mess.
You were there.
I'm just going to keep adding to the fucking mess. I was there. I am Louis Gates Jr.
I knew it.
And when I saw that cop, no, he acted wrongly. No matter what. Look, I got pulled over by a cop recently, and I was with my kids. This cop was a dick.
Okay.
And he was a young man. That's the thing. That's the other thing that's like everything in your life adds to what's happening in your moment. The cop in this story was a young man. When you get older and you get pulled over by a 22-year-old who likes having a gun, it just bothers you. It just bothers you as a person.
See, it shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. Is absolutely right.
It bothers all of us, though.
When I got pulled over by this cop recently, I had my kids in the car, and he doesn't. I know he doesn't have kids, and I don't think there's certain people where they have a kid radar, like they just have a sense of there's kids here.
Yeah.
That changes how you act, and some people are like, no, they don't. And then later they'll have kids and look back and go, oh, geez,
She have identification on her?
Yeah, exactly. He comes up to my fucking car, two cops. I passed a guy. A guy was drifting into the left turn lane close to an intersection.
You don't have to make it sound good for me, Louis.
So I assume that he's going to make a left, so I move to the right of him, pass him on the right, and then he changes his mind and goes into a gas station.
Oh, shit.
On the right. Mm-hmm. So I get pulled over by two state troopers, like they needed two fucking cars, and they come to each side, and they both have their fucking hands. There's the hand on the gun thing is important, but some guys do it civilly, and these guys looked fucking hostile, and my kids looked
Daytime
scared.
or nighttime?
Daytime.
Okay.
Middle of the day. 9 in the morning.
Could they see you?
Yeah, I'm very white. I'm driving an Infinity, and it doesn't have spinning rims. There's no loud music.
Your kids are scared.
I'm a balding white man.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And my kids are like, but Daddy, you're white. So the cop comes over and he goes, you know what you did. And I go, well, I'm not sure, honestly. You passed somebody on the right. And I go, oh, well, I thought he was going, like he did that. He had his blinker on. And I go, you know what, sir? I didn't see the blinker, but I assume you're probably right. I probably just had exercised some bad judgment. Like, I'm just trying to get to the fucking ticket.
Right, get to the point.
What's with that inspection sticker? How come the hole isn't punched? I don't know. I went to a gas station and got an Yeah, you're supposed to have the hole punched. I go, was I supposed to punch it in my actual... he goes, he reaches in and rips he goes, this is coming with me, and rips my inspection sticker
off. Are you shitting me?
Which is putting me now in, like, I got to drive around without a sticker till I get one.
That guy's a fucking asshole.
He's being an asshole.
Right.
but I still recognize that my role is respect the law, get the paperwork from him. Yes, sir. Get the paperwork.
And it looks like you got a headlight out, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess I shouldn't have had that headlight out, officer. I'm collecting information. I'm getting my paperwork. I'm going to go to court and I'm going to fight it, and I won't pay for these tickets.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm driving around. Meanwhile, I got to worry about getting pulled over all the time because nobody has inspection stations upstate because the economy is shit.
Yeah.
And you go to a gas station and go, we don't do inspections anymore. Ripped it off.
What a prick.
Didn't wait for me to explain anything to him or whatever. Just fucking.
Well, that's just a cock.
But still, my role is to act respectful to police, and I'm sure that. So I think that Louis Gates acted. It's wrong to just start yelling. You just don't get to do that, even if you are in your own house, even if you're being arrested for doing nothing, even if you're being totally. No, he was right. It's not fair. But but I understand it. That's all. I understand. I empathize with.
He was being extremely belligerent to an officer who was, from what they say, and from certain radio transmissions, that was being as polite as possible to this gentleman, answering a call to a burglary in progress. He gets there. And then he's accused of being a racist. And then the professor starts talking about his mama and shit like that.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, too, though. It's like there's so many parts of this that are like part of the... This is such a... I think these kinds of things are always good. I think this is a positive thing because it's a conversation the whole country has. And talking about this kind of thing...
See, this is what I was going to say.
Pure positive. I think it's all good.
I was going to say this before. I don't think it is because I think it shows just how... close to the surface, all this shit is bubbling.
Of course,
and how it's just this fine veneer of spackle.
Yeah, but talking is better than.
But it can't hurt to talk about it.
Talking is better than bubbling, and I think that it's important for people to know what it's like to be a guy like Louis Gates, and what it's like to be like this cop, and go into the morass of racism every time you answer any kind of a call. Must be very frustrating. But I always also think about Americans, fucking entitled, rich, white, gun-owning Americans who just this castle. Fucking house is
castle?
Yes.
Well, you're explaining.
Wow, you are completely describing
your
my
house
life.
is your castle.
That's right.
Anyone walks in, steps on the lawn, you can shoot them in the fucking mouth. Exactly.
Kablamo! So
in that context, a guy coming into your house and saying anything untoward, you're like, fuck you, you fucking racist fucking faggot cop. Fuck your mother in the ass, you little faggot racist. Get off my fucking property. I'm the president of Harvard, you fucking little Irish South Boston prick. Go shove it in your mother's cunt. I don't care if you fucking brought that basketball player back to life. Fuck you. I'm fucking Louis Gates. I'm calling Barack right now. He's on my fucking speed dial, you motherfucker. I get it. I get that.
Yeah?
I think if you were black, that's what you would say to a cop if he came on your property. Or you just shoot him.
No, I would be very cordial. I would be the pull myself up by my bootstraps kind of a guy. And,
that's what he was. He's like, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and I still get fucking arrested for having a jammed door. It's from Louis Gates Jr.'s point of view, it's a complete outrage. I get it.